Your smartphone exists because Hitler came to power. Sounds insane? I'll prove it. Every timeline thinks it's the real one. Every world believes it's permanent, until it isn't. I observe timelines, document the differences, track what changes when history takes a left instead of a right. You'll decide what to believe. That's fine, for now. Most major divergences follow three forks. Watch for them. January 30th, 1933, Berlin, Germany. Timeline A0. That's us. Telegraph Earth. President Paul von Hindenburg, 85 years old, failing health, stares at two papers. One appoints Hitler as chancellor. The other reappoints Kurt von Schleicher, the current chancellor. 6 million Germans unemployed. Political violence in the streets. The country needs stable leadership. Most people don't know this, but Hitler wasn't even German, he was Austrian. Only became a citizen in 1932. Hindenburg despises Hitler, calls him that bohemian corporal, but conservative elites promise they can control him, use him as their puppet. At 11 a.m., Hindenburg lifts his pen. Hindenburg's advisors convinced him that Hitler could be tamed in office. What red flag should they have seen? In the comments below, share the warning sign you think was most obvious. I read every resonance. In our timeline, the pen moves left. By evening, torchlight parades celebrate Hitler's appointment. In timeline E5, the pen moves right. Hindenburg signs Schleicher's reappointment. That screaming Austrian can rot, he mutters. Hitler waits in his hotel room for news that never comes. One signature. Two completely different worlds. 1933. Fork 1 begins when Hitler's appointment never arrives. In A0, Hitler's first act as chancellor. Demand massive secret rearmament. The Nazi state pours billions into wonder weapons. Jets, rockets, flying bombs. At Peenemünde on the Baltic coast, Werner von Braun receives unlimited funds to chase his childhood dream of spaceflight, disguised as weapons research. The V2 rocket program cost $40 billion in today's money, almost twice the Manhattan Project. They spent double the price of splitting the atom on rockets that could only be used once. In E5, military budgets focus on practical needs. Better rifles, reliable trucks, modern artillery. Von Braun remains what he was, a 21-year-old aristocrat launching amateur rockets with the VFR, the Society for Space Travel. Their liquid-fueled experiments sputter skyward before crashing harmlessly in potato fields. 1942, A0 burns in global war. German bombers pound London night after night. Families huddle in subway tunnels as explosions shake the city above. Britain desperately needs weapons that can strike back at Berlin. E5 sees a different conflict, smaller, regional, concluded by 1943 through negotiation. No V2 rockets rain terror from the sky. Ballistic missiles remain theoretical scribbles in notebooks. 1945. In both timelines, Robert Goddard, the lone inventor who launched the world's first liquid fuel rocket from his aunt's farm in 1926, continues tinkering in the New Mexico desert. But in A0, he knows German rocketeers have surpassed him. In E5, he works alone, unhurried. By 1945, his best rocket reaches 2.7 kilometers high. Impressive for a solo inventor, but decades from orbit. (1946), Fork 2 begins. Okay, so here's where it gets weird. In A0, something wild happens. As the Allies capture Nazi Germany, American intelligence officers make a choice that still haunts us. They find the scientists who built Hitler's terror weapons, the V-2 rockets that rained death on London, and offer them a deal. Come work for us, and we'll pretend you were never Nazis. They literally paperclip fake biographies to their files, erasing SS memberships and war crimes. Operation Paperclip, they call it. Von Braun and 1,600 German specialists get new lives in America. The Soviets do the same, grabbing every German rocket scientist they can find. It's a brain heist. Both superpowers stealing decades of rocket knowledge in months. Without these borrowed Nazi minds, reaching space would have taken decades longer. E5 has no V-2 program to plunder. American and Soviet rocket programs must build from scratch. What took 12 years in our timeline, from captured V-2 to Sputnik, stretches to over 30 years of trial and error. More crucially, without Hitler's war creating two nuclear superpowers glaring across divided Europe, the very nature of competition changes. No Berlin blockade, no paranoid race for supremacy. Why rush to put eyes in the sky when traditional reconnaissance works fine? 1957. A0 sees Sputnik circle overhead, a basketball-sized herald shocking America awake. In E5, the first satellite won't fly for another 24 years. Space remains the province of science fiction writers. 1969. Neil Armstrong walks on the moon in A0. In E5, he's 38 years old, flying experimental aircraft for NASA, an agency that focuses on advanced aviation, not space. The moon hangs untouched above, as it has for all human history. The transistor arrives in 1947 in both worlds. But E5 lacks the desperate push to make everything smaller. No ICBMs needing tiny guidance computers. No satellites where every gram costs thousands. No military pouring billions into miniaturization. Consumer electronics evolves slowly. Portable radios, yes. But pocket computers? Why bother? The technology crawls instead of sprint. Fork 3. This is what I need you to see. A0 launches the first GPS satellite. E5 can't. The rocket to carry it doesn't exist. Navigation remains analog. Compass, sextant, maps, memory. Ground-based radio systems only work near coasts. 1979. Finally, E5's European Space Consortium puts a satellite in orbit. 1. It relays TV signals between London and Paris. A technical marvel no one rushes to replicate. 2007. Our world gets the iPhone. In E5, Steve Jobs is busy refining desktop Macs. Their most advanced phone has a keyboard for texting, no GPS, no app store, no internet. Mobile phones remain executive novelties, rare, expensive, unreliable. 2025. A Gen Z college student in E5 wakes to her bedside alarm clock, a real one that just rings. Doesn't track her sleep cycles or play personalized music. No phone charging next to her pillow. No morning scroll through notifications. She navigates by memory. Past the red brick church, left at the memorial, straight to the clock tower. In class, 200 students take notes on paper. The professor's words aren't recorded. You listen, or you miss it. At the coffee shop, conversations buzz. No one stares at phones. No phones to stare at. The owner knows her name, saves her the good avocados. She knows 200 people, not 2,000. But she knows their coffee orders, their laughs, the way their eyes crinkle when happy. She'll never experience the panic of a dead phone battery. She'll also never coordinate an emergency rescue with 3 taps. Would you choose their world or ours? Deep human connections, but no instant global access, or infinite reach, but shallow presence? Comment below. And if this observation shifted your perspective, please let the algorithm know. Until the next resonance holds, jet out.
The observation, windows closing, static creeping in, but Jed keeps watching, waiting till the next resonance holds.